was a philosopher. Maybe Paul was a political prisoner, or Paul was just wrongfully accused. And Paul, the Roman citizen, had asked for a trial, and therefore he was taken to Rome to be there under house arrest. And finally, from there, he was executed. He was beheaded. Poor people, people without a stable residence, considered to be a public nuisance, bore the brunt of what we would call casual administrative violence, as well as short-term imprisonment under local magistrates who just want to keep the peace. We must accept that Paul inhabited, as it sometimes is called, Paul inhabited a whippable body, one that could be hit or be locked away by the local authorities without too much of noise, with impunity. You could imprison people very easily for some kind of vague accusation like disorderly conduct. Paul's treatment was the same for many in ancient Rome, especially if you were poor, homeless, or of an ethnic group that marked him as a part of an occupied people. Which is to say, Paul looked a lot like those who get over-policed and thrown into jail today, not only in Kenya, but all over the world. And even today, many of our judicial systems contribute to the same. Some of our people will be thrown into prison for relatively minor violations, while others, especially for crimes that involve more than 10 million shilling, or those who have powerful friends, they will never make it to prison. You might have committed a heinous crime, but you will be able to escape prison unscathed. There is a saying that the law is the same for everybody, but not everybody is the same for the law. The church of Philippi provided resources to Paul, wanted to be with Paul during and after his incarceration. They wanted to meet his physical needs. They brought him to eat. They brought him clothing. They became like a social safety net. And the Philippians in that time sent a man called Epaphroditus to Paul to make sure that he had the means of surviving behind bars. And they wrote letters back and forth with Paul while he was in prison in that time. And they even prepared a guest room for him when he was finally released. These basic forms of support, sending visitors into prison, writing letters, opening our homes to people getting out of prison, are still basic needs, basic tasks that are needed today. Father Peter Kimani was involved in all this, and he could explain it much better than me. By the way, Holy Scripture doesn't make any attempt to prove the innocence of Paul as he is in prison, but rather